Hi. Is this loud enough?
Yep.
Can you hear me? Good, because I'm a pretty quiet person usually. No one can hear me when I talk, so this is great. I have a mic. So hi, I'm Cole. I'm a local dev here in Vancouver. I'm giving a talk on pitching and publishing. I'm working on my game, Captain Soda, for the last 2.5 years. And I'm working on a contract right now with a publisher, and I got a lot of compliments on my pitch deck, so I thought I'd just come out here, show it off, and you can learn from it. So what I have here is just my whole pitch deck. It's not like a formal presentation or anything, but just what I used to send to publishers. So I'll start from the beginning and go through the end, go through each slide one at a time. First slide is this one, just key art logo, just impress them, I guess. Have something fun to look at. Immediately after that, you want close to the start anyway, you want the pitch. 2 sentences, 5 seconds to take to read it. I'm not going to read over the pitch deck because this particular pitch deck is something I would email to them. It's not something I would go up on stage and read. So it's not digestible. You don't have to read it as much right now. I'll be showing the game off later, so if you want to read more into the details and everything, you can come do that. But so second slide is your pitch. The most interesting way to describe the game. You want to capture their attention immediately. If you have a trailer, put a trailer. Have some kind of video. In a pitch deck, you want to. You want some kind of vertical slice or a trailer or gameplay. The more you can show them about the game, the better. Whatever you have, make a trailer out of it. If it's 20 seconds, it's 20 seconds. Okay, sure, I'll play it. I guess I realized that I didn't say more about the game or what it's about. I've been making this game for 2.5 years. When I started pitching to publishers, it was in September last year, and I've been spending 6, 7, 8 months pitching to publishers, so the process itself can be quite long. I've applied to 60 publishers. I have a list of like 90 or so that I've researched, and out of all of that, one got back to me with an offer. I'll get more into that at the end. Yeah, you want to show off a video or something. You want to convince them that this is a great game, and a trailer and video is a great way to do that. If you don't have video, have some images. or concepts, whatever you have. Honestly, try and work towards a vertical slice, which is like the top quality of the game, but like maybe 5 minutes. And try and be as convincing as possible with a pitch. Next, have some actual gameplay, if you haven't, and if you haven't heard, have some actual gameplay to show what the game's actually like. I'll showcase the game later, so I won't play this right now. This is like a 20-minute video. So after your big video stuff, have some descriptions about what the game's like, gameplay, what to expect, features, things like that. This is basically just Steam page body copy. Describe as much as you really need to tell them to get a gist of what the game's like. One important thing with publishers is they want to know what makes your game special, what makes it unique. Like, okay, what is this game different from like every other indie game or any other Steam game or whatever? Like, why should I care about this game? So that's why you have some unique selling factors. So for this game, you have like a soda bottle character. The soda jiggles around. It has a straw that spins around, depending. And you can change your soda flavor to change up the gameplay. Changing your flavor changes the graphics of the character. So it's kind of really like this really interesting technical artwork for a character. Soda themes. Unique mechanics. This one has screen wrapping, so you go through the bottom, go through the top. Things that separate the game that players care about. So for this particular genre, that would be like smooth controls, like really good game feel. These are things that players really care about, and this is what the game has. So you want to really showcase the strong points of the game and what makes it different. Some screenshots. So again, have some media in your deck. More about yourself. So they want to know who's making the game, the team behind it, your previous experience, why they should believe in you to make this game. Because they're basically investing in a relationship with you to make a product and then you both benefit from it. Publishing is usually a long-term relationship. Usually when you publish a game with a publisher, they get like 7 years of revenue from it or more. So it's definitely a long-term kind of thing. You want to show off your previous work. So credibility. Having a track record is very important because it shows that, okay, you've made games before. This isn't just your first idea and you're coming to them with like a scribble on a sheet and some concepts or something. Make some previous stuff, get some skills, show that you're capable of delivering this thing. Especially if it's just a concept. If you haven't made games before, then it's a pretty big risk. They wanted to de-risk as much as possible and make them believe that this game is going to do well when you can actually finish it and make it. For my game, I did a lot of research on the audience, on the market, and so because I did that research, I wanted to include it in the pitch deck. Say, okay, hey, I know my audience, I know who's going to buy this game, I know who's going to play it, and I'm looking for someone who can cater to this audience specifically. So the more finer details, pricing, platform, engine, costs, budget, not necessarily the asking budget if you're doing that, but just like how big is this game? Target release date, all that kind of stuff. Really like the market specific stuff. Especially for platforms, if you're releasing on consoles and they don't do consoles, then they'll want to know that. And if they do consoles, then that's great because that lines up with their interests. Price as well, you want a target price, either free or premium, or yeah. Again, I did a lot of research, so I have some data here on like sales numbers and expectations for how well this game would do. So this just kind of sets what I'm going for, my budget, and all that kind of stuff. Some kind of timeline. Again, you want to convince them that you're capable of making this, and you want to have some sort of milestone, some kind of accountability, and show that when things are going to happen. Long term is important for different platforms, for, let's say, content updates, things like that. And again, long-term relationship with them. If you want to make more projects or more sequels or things like that, if you're looking for a partner that can help you with that for more multiple projects, then that's something good to know there. Then right at the end, after you've said everything about what the game is, you have the ask. What do you need from this publisher? What can they do for you? Marketing, funding, QA, whatever it is you need from them. And then after that, just have some contact information. Steam page, whatever else. If you have a demo, put a demo link. Have some kind of way they can play the game and try it out. When you send a pitch deck to a publisher, you don't want them to come back to you and say, hey, can you please send me these links or these things? Because they're probably not going to do that. They'll probably just skip right past it. So you want to give them as much as possible so that they can seriously consider it. And then the first email that they come back to you with should be, hey, can we set up a time to talk about this? Rather than coming back to you with more details, because they'll probably just skip over it. Yeah, so talking more about publishing. As I said before, I got one offer out of like 65 applications. This is my first commercial game, so it's definitely a pretty risky bet for publishers. If you are doing a first project kind of like this, then it's probably realistic numbers. Publishers are also pretty busy. You might have the 10 that you're talking to or that you're interested in that you think that, hey, they would love to work with this game, but they might just have a really full schedule. You can't work with them because, well, they can't take on any more projects. So you want to figure out publishing and pitch them as early as possible, like 2 years in advance, preferably if you're working on a big project. If it's a small project, then just as soon as you have a vertical slice, if you plan to work with publishers, because in the first year or two, they'll be pretty busy and be hard to fit in projects in that time. So you may have to be applying to a lot of publishers, and you have to keep going, keep going. Again, I spent like 8 months since September doing research, reaching out to publishers, making a long list, and just back and forth contacting with them. Usually I'll receive and send an email like once a day, so it doesn't happen like all in one day unless you have a talk with them, even though it will take a while to do. And once you're figuring out a contract, that takes weeks to do. So have some runway that you can reliably take the time that you need to figure out that process if you go that way. Yeah, and as I said before, I got a lot of compliments on my pitch deck, saying, oh, this is one of the best that they received from like indies or whatever, which is great. That's a pretty good ego boost as someone who's his first commercial game, basically. For this pitch deck, I took a lot of reference from online examples, like the War Groove pitch deck example from Chucklefish, some YouTube talks from GDC and other examples like that, like what publishers want to see, and just kind of put together this reference of everything. I'll be showcasing it later, so if you want a link to it, I can give it to you. Yeah, and I'll take some time for questions.
How did you go about putting together that list of 90 publishers? Where did you go to track those publishers down?
So where did I go to get this list of publishers? It was kind of an ongoing process. I first started with just a Google search. I was like, okay, publishers. Actually, the first thing I did is I looked at all the games that were similar to mine on Steam and reverse engineered who published what and figured out like the highest priority for publishers. So games that are most similar to mine that I think that they would be interested in. I cataloged that list first, and then I cataloged all the big ones, Devolver, whatever, all the big ones people want to work with. Didn't hear much back from that. So after that, I was feeling kind of disheartened, whatever. But I kept going and did more searching on like big publisher lists, and then there was one like 20-page document of tons of publishers from like an emailing list that someone sent me. That was great. I found a lot of like hidden things you couldn't really search for. So I just recommend like doing Google searches, reverse engineering games somewhere on Steam for games that are similar to yours, scraping as many as you can, and trying to find lists of publishers everywhere.
I think this might be a little bit more prevalent in the mobile web space, but have you done anything to protect the game from being potentially reverse engineered or like, I guess, potentially plagiarized? Like, have you set up any trademarks for the game?
So have I set any trademarks or any kind of defenses, I guess, from having the game stolen? Not really. The game itself, I mean, is inherently copyrighted, but I haven't trademarked the name or anything like that. If someone wants to reverse engineer it, then go right ahead, I guess. There's a lot of like finer detail to the game that makes it a lot of fun when you play it, but you can't really see it happen. So a lot of like quality comes from the craft, I guess. Yeah, and this game specifically is targeting a smaller niche. It's not like a big AAA shooter or something like that. And in a way, this game is kind of copying another game, but doing a lot more with it, more mechanics, more content, more stuff like that. I've been pretty open with the development of it. I've done a lot of small marketing things, tests here and there. I've done some play testing, stuff like that. But I haven't really had much of a need, I think, to protect the game from being copied.
What do you think are the biggest mistakes that people make with pitch decks, or what were the sort of the biggest lessons you learned to not do?
So what are the biggest mistakes or lessons I learned to not do in pitch decks and publishing? I guess I didn't really find many mistakes or many problems with other pitch decks. I mostly just found references online, found what publishers care about, and then put that in the deck. I did have some people or some publishers or PR agencies that pitch to kind of come back to me and say, hey, maybe not say this particular thing in the pitch deck. Like I was kind of using this to pitch to angel investors, PR agencies, publishers, and kind of a variety of investor people. And I guess one of the things not to include in a pitch deck is costs for things you want the publisher to do, like marketing or QA or stuff like that, because they can handle that on themselves and figure that out. And just include costs for things that you need to be covered that you are handling and they are not handling.
Hey, did you tailor the pitch in any way to certain publishers, and if so, why or why not?
So, did I tailor the game to publishers, and why not? Why not?
The pitch.
Yeah, the pitch. So the pitch deck itself, I didn't change it at all. I just have the one pitch deck. However, I did send emails to all of them, or send them on their application form on the website. I tried to, like a cover letter, you would have a copy-paste stuff, and then I would change a couple lines, say, okay, why this game matters to them. I would, of course, everyone that I applied to would be a publisher that I think could be interested in the game for one reason or another. And so I thought, okay, they're probably interested in arcade games. So it's like, okay, you published some arcade games before. I'm making an arcade game, you'll probably like this. And try and relate like why they should care about your game in the email that you send them. Yeah, and all the ones that I applied to were just ones I thought would be interested in the game. I didn't just apply to every single one needlessly. It's a lot of work, and it's just better to pitch something that the publisher probably has a good track record of stuff.
One of the slides you mentioned you already had some funding. I'm just curious if the process of obtaining that was similar at all to this, or if that was very different.
So your question was, I had some previous funding, and sorry, what was the?
Did you have like a similar pitch to this, or was it a very different process for that?
Right. So for the funding I received previously, did I have a different pitch? For the funding I had previously, I got that through government grants and programs. So I had the amazing opportunity to work on this game after being laid off my job. So I took, a year of development to do something, because the job market here in Vancouver is very, very competitive. I wasn't receiving any offers. I was like, okay, I'm just going to make a game and get some experience doing it that way. And no matter what happens, I'll come out of it better. Then after that 1 year, I applied to the YMCA. They have a self-employment program for startup business owners. So you can start up a business and get some initial funding to develop it, make a business plan, go through some seminars, stuff like that. So that's where that money came from, and of course my savings. So that's basically free money. They don't ask for any return or anything like that. So I didn't have to pitch much for that. I just kind of gave them, okay, this is what I'm doing, and this is what I do.
So how did you estimate the gain revenue?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. How did you estimate the gain revenue?
How did I estimate the game's revenue? So that comes from a lot of research I did. I used a combination of like the box letter number and some really complex formula to create a really educated ballpark guess of sales of games my game is similar to, like 20, 30 games that my game is similar to. So here I have like a whole spreadsheet of data, and I estimated a bunch of games, what the revenue is like, then chose a range of games that, okay, I can make a game that's this level of quality and polish and content. And that earned so and so much money, about 40 or so thousand Canadian. And that's the kind of target that I went for in terms of budget, development, and all that. So that's kind of what I'm using to convince them and what I'm going for.
And that was cool.